The richest men I have known were rarely noticed. They did not announce themselves. They did not rush. They did not compete for attention. While others spoke loudly about success, they were already finished with the work. This is the first truth most never see. Discipline does not seek visibility. It removes the need for it. Men chase recognition because they lack inner order. Noise replaces structure. Display replaces depth. But discipline works in silence. When a man is ruled by discipline, he no longer needs to prove. And when he no longer needs to prove, he becomes difficult to detect. Most people believe wealth reveals a man. In truth, it conceals him. The disciplined man moves differently. He does not react. He anticipates. He does not hurry. He arrives prepared. He does not explain himself. His results do that quietly. I observed this among kings, merchants, builders, and servants alike. Those who lacked discipline were always visible, always speaking, always correcting impressions, always managing appearances. Their energy leaked outward. The disciplined conserved it. Energy is wealth before wealth exists. Waste it early, and no gold will compensate later. A man without discipline must constantly adjust his image. A disciplined man adjusts his habits. Habits shape destiny more reliably than ambition. Ambition burns hot. Discipline burns steady. Steady fire outlasts storms. This is why disciplined men appear slow. They are not slow. They are deliberate. Deliberation is invisible to the impatient eye. The impatient mistake speed for progress. But speed without order multiplies error. Error is expensive. Discipline reduces error before it appears. This is its quiet power. I learned early that attention is a dangerous currency. What you attend to, you strengthen. The undisciplined man attends to praise, insult, fear, excitement. His mind is crowded. Crowded minds cannot see clearly. Clear sight builds advantage. Advantage compounds quietly. Noise interrupts compounding. This is why disciplined men guard their routines fiercely. Not because routines are sacred, but because clarity depends on them. Clarity removes the need to explain. When you explain, you invite doubt. When you invite doubt, you weaken authority. The disciplined man rarely argues. He does not need agreement. He trusts process. Process rewards patience, not persuasion. Persuasion exhausts the soul. Discipline preserves it. I saw men grow wealthy and lose themselves. Their wealth made them louder, more reactive, more fragile. They confused freedom with indulgence. Indulgence erodes discipline. Discipline erodes fear. Fear creates urgency. Urgency creates mistakes. Mistakes announce themselves loudly. The disciplined man avoids urgency. He builds margin. Margin creates calm. Calm hides power. This is why disciplined men seem ordinary. They dress simply. They speak plainly. They move without display. Their power is not in what they show, but in what they refuse to do. Refusal is strength. Saying no protects energy. Energy stored becomes leverage. Leverage changes outcomes. Quietly. Those who chase attention must constantly feed it. Those who master discipline let attention come to them naturally. Or not at all. Both are acceptable. Because discipline creates independence from validation. Validation is addictive. Addiction destroys wealth faster than loss. Loss can be recovered. Discipline lost is rarely regained. This is why the disciplined man is cautious with celebration. He understands rhythm, work, rest, reflection, not excess. Excess dulls judgment. Judgment is the guardian of wealth. Without judgment, wealth becomes exposure. Exposure attracts danger. Invisible men avoid unnecessary danger. They are not cowards. They are precise. Precision looks boring. Boring builds empires. I ruled a kingdom. Yet I learned more from quiet men than loud ones. The loud wanted to be seen. The quiet wanted to be right. Being right compounds. Being seen fades. This is where discipline begins, not with restriction, but with choice. Choosing long-term clarity over short-term recognition. Choosing structure over excitement. Choosing silence over explanation. From this choice, wealth begins its quiet journey. Discipline reshapes how a man uses time. The undisciplined man fills his hours. The disciplined man protects them. Protection looks passive from the outside. From within, it is constant decision. Every hour has a cost, not in money, in focus. Focus is fragile. The moment it is split, its power dissolves. This is why disciplined men simplify. Fewer meetings, fewer conversations, fewer explanations. Not out of arrogance, out of precision. They know that every added obligation reduces depth somewhere else. Depth is where wealth grows. Surface effort impresses. Depth compounds. Compounding requires uninterrupted attention. Interruption creates noise. Noise forces reaction. Reaction hands control to circumstance. The disciplined man refuses to live reactively. He designs his days before others touch them. Design is invisible. People only notice outcomes. By the time results appear, the work is already done. This creates the illusion of luck. Luck is preparation soon. Those without discipline accuse fortune. Those with discipline ignore it. They trust rhythm. I observed men who chased opportunity. They arrived early, spoke eagerly, promised loudly. They were remembered briefly. The disciplined arrived quietly, listened longer, committed sparingly. They were remembered when it mattered. Wealth favors reliability. Reliability is built slowly. It requires saying no to attractive distractions. Distractions often look like opportunity. They flatter the ego. The disciplined man distrusts flattery. He asks one question silently. Does this strengthen my order or weaken it? If it weakens order, it is declined. This is why disciplined men are hard to reach. Access is filtered, not by status, but by intention. They respond when alignment exists. They disappear when it does not. This is not secrecy. It is stewardship. Stewardship of attention. Stewardship of energy. Stewardship of judgment. Judgment erodes when the mind is crowded. Crowds demand performance. Performance demands reaction. Reaction breeds exhaustion. Exhausted men seek stimulation. Stimulation replaces progress. This is the trap many wealthy fall into. They gain resources and lose direction. The disciplined do the opposite. They narrow their world. Narrowing increases power. Power does not need volume. It needs consistency. Consistency builds trust quietly. Trust opens doors without knocking. This is why disciplined men rarely chase networks. Networks chase reliability. They are invited, not introduced. Invitation follows proof. Proof requires time. Time requires patience. Patience thrives in silence. Silence is uncomfortable for the undisciplined. They fill it with activity. The disciplined listen to it. Silence reveals inefficiencies. It exposes habits that drain effort. It reveals where attention leaks. Leaks are costly. Most men never notice them. Discipline notices early. Early correction prevents loss. Prevented loss compounds faster than earned gain. This is a secret few accept. Avoiding foolish decisions creates more wealth than making brilliant ones. Brilliance attracts attention. Attention attracts interference. Interference disrupts momentum. Momentum is delicate. The disciplined guard it fiercely. They move slower when necessary to avoid stopping later. Stopping is expensive. Restarting costs more. Flow is invisible, but it builds quietly, relentlessly. I watched empires fall, not from lack of resources, but from loss of discipline. Success loosened structure. Structure loosened judgment. Judgment loosened restraint. Restraint vanished. Collapse followed. Always the same sequence. The disciplined man fears comfort more than struggle. Comfort dulls awareness. Awareness maintains edge. Edge separates those who endure from those who peak and vanish. This is why disciplined men appear absent. They do not attend everything. They do not respond to everything. They do not explain everything. Their absence is intentional. Presence everywhere is weakness. Selective presence is power. Power conserved grows. This is the quiet mathematics of wealth. Unseen, uncelebrated, uninterrupted. Discipline reveals itself most clearly in small, ordinary choices, not in moments of pressure, but in moments when no one is watching. The undisciplined relax only when observed. The disciplined remain steady in private. Private order creates public strength. What a man allows himself alone eventually rules him in company. This is why disciplined men are cautious with their evenings. Night shapes morning. Morning shapes judgment. Judgment shapes decisions. Decisions shape wealth. The careless night produces the hurried morning. The hurried morning creates shallow thought. Shallow thought seeks shortcuts. Shortcuts cost more than effort. The disciplined protect sleep, not for comfort, for clarity. Clarity sharpens restraint. Restraint prevents overextension. Overextension announces weakness. Invisible men avoid weakness. They do not stretch themselves thin. Thin effort yields thin results. Instead, they concentrate. Concentration intensifies outcome. Intensity attracts attention. But discipline controls how much is revealed. The disciplined man does not display process. He displays consistency. Consistency reassures. Reassurance builds trust. Trust invites opportunity without display. This is why disciplined men rarely explain failure. They correct it quietly. Explanation consumes energy. Correction restores alignment. Alignment compounds. I noticed men who spoke of goals constantly. They announced intention, as if intention were achievement. The disciplined spoke of systems. Systems operate silently. Once built, they require little noise. Noise interrupts systems. So disciplined men reduce noise. Fewer commitments, clear boundaries, predictable routines. Predictability is not weakness, it is efficiency. Efficiency frees attention. Freed attention deepens insight. Insight precedes advantage. Advantage multiplies returns without increasing effort. This is invisible work. Others see results and assume aggression or risk. They are mistaken. The disciplined avoid unnecessary risk. Risk is not courage. Risk is exposure without preparation. Preparation is patience applied daily. Daily discipline compounds invisibly. No single day appears important, yet every day matters. This is why many quit early. They seek visible reward too soon. The disciplined trust accumulation. Accumulation rewards endurance. Endurance requires emotional control. Emotion drains judgment. Judgment drained leads to impulsive spending. Spending is not the danger. Impulse is. Impulse reveals lack of internal order. Order is wealth before wealth arrives. Men with money and no order become visible quickly. They consume loudly. They attract attention. Attention attracts dependency. Dependency erodes autonomy. Autonomy is true wealth. Discipline preserves autonomy. This is why disciplined men keep their needs low. Low needs create leverage. High needs create pressure. Pressure reveals desperation. Desperation is easily exploited. Invisible men avoid being exploited. They do not reveal hunger. They do not rush agreements. They do not chase validation. Their calm unsettles those who rely on urgency. Urgency manipulates. Calm disarms. This is a quiet advantage. The disciplined man waits. Waiting is strength when prepared. Preparation removes fear of delay. Fear of delay creates poor terms. Good terms require patience. Patience thrives in order. Order thrives in routine. Routine thrives in discipline. This loop sustains itself. I saw men gain wealth quickly and lose it slowly. The loss was not sudden. It was subtle. Relaxed standards, softer mornings, looser spending. Each change seemed harmless. Together, they dismantled structure. Structure is invisible until it collapses. Then everyone notices. Discipline prevents collapse by never relaxing fully. Rest, yes. Neglect, no. The disciplined know the difference. They rest with intention. They recover without indulgence. Indulgence blurs limits. Limits protect strength. Strength allows restraint. Restraint sustains wealth. This is the unseen labor. No applause, no announcement, just quiet alignment repeated daily. This is why disciplined men are overlooked. They do not signal effort, they signal stability. Stability attracts what flash cannot. Time rewards stability, always. Wealth is easier to gain than it is to keep. This is not because markets change. It is because men do. Success loosens what struggle tightened. In the beginning, discipline is survival. Later, it must become principle. Principle does not depend on circumstance. When wealth arrives, many believe the work is finished. The disciplined know it has only changed form. Early discipline builds, later discipline preserves. Preservation is less visible than creation. Creation is loud. Preservation is silent. Silence protects. Protection requires awareness. Awareness fades when comfort increases. Comfort dulls vigilance. Vigilance guards wealth. This is why disciplined men resist lifestyle expansion. They allow improvement, but not excess. Excess creates dependency. Dependency creates fragility. Fragile systems fail under pressure. Pressure is inevitable. The invisible man prepares for pressure long before it arrives. He asks quiet questions. What happens if income slows? What happens if attention shifts? What happens if trust is tested? These questions are not fearful. They are responsible. Responsibility is unattractive, yet it sustains kingdoms. I saw wealth destroyed, not by enemies, but by negligence. Negligence rarely looks dangerous. It looks reasonable. One exception, one indulgence, one delay. Each choice alone is small. Together, they dismantle structure. Discipline notices accumulation early. Early correction is gentle. Late correction is painful. The disciplined choose gentle. They review regularly, not obsessively, consistently. Review is maintenance. Maintenance prevents decay. Decay invites crisis. Crisis forces visibility. Visibility attracts interference. Interference disrupts control. Control lost is difficult to reclaim. This is why disciplined men avoid unnecessary exposure. They do not advertise capacity. They do not display excess. They understand envy. Envy distorts relationships. Relationships strained by envy require energy to manage. Energy spent managing perception is energy stolen from progress. The disciplined avoid this drain. They let results exist quietly. Let others speculate. Speculation fades. Stability remains. I observed men who expanded too quickly. More ventures, more partners, more obligations. Expansion without structure multiplies risk. Risk unmanaged demands attention. Attention diverted weakens core operations. Core weakened invites failure. The disciplined expand cautiously. They strengthen foundations first. Foundations are invisible. But when storms come, only foundations matter. Wealth attracts requests. Requests create pressure. Pressure tests boundaries. Boundaries require discipline. Without boundaries, generosity becomes destruction. Wisdom guides generosity. It gives with foresight. It protects future capacity. Undisciplined giving feels noble, but often serves ego. Disciplined giving serves longevity. Longevity multiplies impact. I learned that saying no is often the most generous act. It preserves alignment. Alignment preserves wealth. Wealth preserved creates options. Options reduce fear. Fear causes haste. Haste leads to regret. The disciplined man moves slowly, even when able to move fast. Speed tempts confidence. Confidence unchecked becomes arrogance. Arrogance blinds. Blind men stumble regardless of wealth. Discipline restores sight. It reminds the man that fortune is temporary, but order endures. Order adapts. Adaptation ensures survival. Survival allows growth. Growth restrained by discipline becomes prosperity. Prosperity without discipline becomes exposure. Exposure demands attention. Attention invites disruption. The disciplined prefer quiet. Quiet allows correction before damage appears. This is the hidden advantage. The world sees stability and assumes luck. Luck fades. Discipline remains. This is why disciplined men are rarely dramatic. Drama wastes energy. Energy preserved compounds. Compounding is patient. Patience is invisible, but it outlasts everything. There comes a stage when discipline is no longer something you practice. It becomes something you recognize. You recognize it in your breathing, in your pace, in the way your mind no longer jumps. At this stage, wealth is no longer exciting, and that frightens many. They mistake calm for loss of ambition. They do not understand that ambition matures. It becomes selective. Selective ambition does not announce itself. It moves quietly because it does not need reinforcement. Reinforcement is for doubt. The disciplined man doubts less, not because he knows more, but because he reacts less. Reaction drains certainty. Certainty grows in stillness. Stillness reveals timing. Timing is more valuable than effort. Effort applied at the wrong moment creates exhaustion. Exhaustion seeks relief. Relief weakens discipline. This is the slow erosion. Invisible. The disciplined learn to recognize when effort should pause and when it must intensify. This discernment is rare. It cannot be taught loudly. It is learned by observing consequences, by watching others lose what they gained, by noticing patterns repeat. Patterns always repeat. Only faces change. I watched men rise quickly. Their hunger was visible, their drive impressive, but hunger uncontained consumes judgment. Judgment compromised invites excess. Excess invites attention. Attention demands performance. Performance becomes identity. Identity tied to performance collapses when performance slows. The disciplined avoid this trap. They separate self from output. Output fluctuates. Identity anchored in discipline remains. This stability creates unusual confidence. Confidence without display. Display seeks confirmation. Confirmation creates dependence. Dependence weakens authority. Authority over self is the first wealth. Everything else follows. The disciplined man understands that wealth amplifies who you already are. If you are scattered, it scatters you further. If you are ordered, it deepens order. This is why discipline must precede abundance, not follow it. Those who wait are overtaken by their own excess. Excess is patient. It waits for weakness. Weakness appears during comfort. Comfort whispers that vigilance is no longer required. Vigilance ignored becomes regret. regret arrives loudly. The disciplined prevent regret quietly. They notice subtle shifts. When mornings lose sharpness, when evenings stretch too long, when decisions feel heavier than before, these signals matter. Ignoring them is how invisibility turns into exposure. Exposure is dangerous, not because others see you, but because you begin to see yourself inaccurately, inflated, entitled, secure without foundation. Foundation must be maintained. Maintenance is boring. Boredom repels the undisciplined. The disciplined accept boredom. They understand its value. Boredom preserves structure. Structure supports freedom. Freedom allows movement without fear. Fear reveals itself in urgency. Urgency reveals lack of margin. Margin is wealth unseen. It allows patience. Patience allows negotiation. Negotiation improves terms. Better terms multiply outcomes without additional effort. This is silent leverage. Leverage is invisible to spectators. They only see results. They never see restraint. They never see declined offers. They never see delayed gratification. They never see boredom endured. But boredom endured is pleasure compounded later. The disciplined man does not chase comfort. He builds it slowly. Comfort built slowly does not erode alertness. It coexists with vigilance. Vigilance without anxiety is mastery. Mastery is calm. Calm unsettles those who depend on chaos. Chaos hides incompetence. Calm exposes it. This is another reason disciplined men step back. They do not engage every signal. They do not respond to every invitation. They preserve ambiguity. Ambiguity protects position. Those who are fully known are easily predicted. Prediction enables control. Control surrendered is wealth surrendered. Invisible men avoid predictability. They are consistent in principle, but flexible in execution. This balance is rare. Consistency without rigidity. Flexibility without compromise. It requires constant internal alignment. Alignment is maintained by discipline. Discipline does not end. It evolves. Early it restricts behavior. Later it restricts identity. This is more difficult. Letting go of an old image is harder than forming habits, but it is necessary. Those who cling to who they were cannot grow into who they must become. Growth demands shedding. Shedding is silent. Nothing announces it. Others simply notice absence, less presence, less explanation, less display. They assume disengagement. They are wrong. It is concentration. Concentration at a higher level. At this level, wealth is no longer accumulated outwardly. It is accumulated inwardly, as margin, as clarity, as optional. Optionality is power. Power without noise is freedom. Freedom without fear is the reward of discipline. Few reach this, not because it is hidden, but because it requires remaining unfinished, always adjusting, always refining, never declaring arrival. Those who declare arrival begin decline. Those who remain students remain invisible. And invisibility, when chosen, is not weakness. It is preparation for something still forming.